I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'm Tim Cavanaugh, Chairman of the Metropolitan Utilities District Board of Directors, and I'd like to welcome you all to the committee meetings this afternoon, May 7th, 2025. This meeting is being live streamed from the boardroom at the M.U.D headquarters building located at 7350 World Communications Drive. A recording of this meeting will be uploaded to the M.U.D website after the meeting's conclusion. Safety briefing. I'd like to invite the Vice President of Safety and Security, Shane Hunter, to provide a briefing regarding protocol for all individuals in attendance at the board meeting today in the event of an emergency. Shane.
Good afternoon. Shane Hunter, Vice President of Safety and Security. We are on the first floor here at M.U.D headquarters, and normal entry and exit is through this door at the rear of the space where we all entered. There's also an alternate exit from this room on the right-hand side. It's outside that door in the hallway. You'll find the nearest fire extinguisher and first aid kit should we need that. A little farther down that same hallway on your right is the nearest AED. With the location of that AED in mind, can I have a show of hands who's CPR and AED trained in the room? Thank you. Should there be a medical emergency in this room today, 911 will be contacted by the security desk, who will then escort EMS personnel into this space. If we need to leave the space for any reason and remain in the building, we can use either door. But if we need to leave the building, we'll use this door on the right, take two lefts, and end up in the parking garage for accountability. Although it is severe weather season, we don't anticipate any today. The severe weather shelter is in that same hallway we spoke about through that door. And that concludes the safety briefing.
Roll call.
Cavanaugh.
Here.
Begley.
Here.
Cook.
Here.
Friend. Sidzik.
Here.
McGowan.
Here.
Howard.
Here.
Open Meetings Act. I would like to advise all those in attendance that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available on the wall in the back room of the boardroom. Construction operations, capital expenditures. Am I doing this in order?
We're going to go to AEF&R.
Okay, well, let's see.
It's the public hearing here.
Oh, public hearing, all right. We'll begin with the public hearing on the proposed updates to the billing price book, which will be presented by Manager of Financial Planning and Analysis, Stephanie Lemons. These can be found behind tab 5. This will be followed by an invitation for the public to comment.
Good afternoon. Stephanie Lemons, Manager of Financial Planning and Analysis. I will be discussing the information behind tab 5 in your binders, which addresses updates to the billing price book. There are 4 documents behind this tab. The first item is a presentation that will be displayed on the screen and will be the focus of the discussion this morning. The next item is the memo submitted to the committee outlining the changes being proposed. Behind that is the detailed list of the proposed prices, and finally the resolution that you'll be voting on in the regular board meeting later this afternoon. So starting on page 2, I'll provide a little background information on this process. The billing price book establishes prices for various services and materials that we provide to our customers and contractors beyond the monthly fees charged for providing gas and water to their homes and businesses. These prices are typically updated annually, and with your approval, these prices will become effective June 1st. Pricing is generally structured to recover the district's costs. The pricing includes the current average hourly rate of personnel performing the service, the average time required to complete each task, and the cost of materials sold or installed as part of the service. There are certain exceptions to this approach. First, there are certain items that are not cost-based, but rather serve as fees intended to discourage undesirable behavior. An example of this is the service diversion charge. And there are also a few services that are intentionally priced below cost. And one reason we have traditionally done this is to assist customers who are facing financial hardship. For example, the turn-on charge for collection accounts priority service is priced below cost. In this case, we are turning on service for a customer after it has been turned off for non-payment. And I'll discuss this fee in a few minutes. Moving to page 3. So this chart provides some context around the size of the revenue generated from the fees that we're discussing today. In 2024, The district's consolidated gross revenue was $383.3 million. As indicated by the yellow slice on the chart, revenue generated from the billing price book items total about $4.5 million, or 1% of total revenue. And although this is a relatively small percentage of total revenue, we conduct a thorough review each year to ensure that our pricing methodologies are accurate and that prices charged for these services are reasonable. We coordinate this annual review, and we work closely with many others across the district who provide input on these services that they perform on a daily basis to review and update the pricing. So now turning to slide 4. We'll review a summary of the frequently billed services. The first item addressed is field services labor. Many of the services we provide are performed by field service technicians, so these labor rates are a component of several other prices throughout the price book. We are proposing to increase the rate by the following. The base rate for 30 minutes will increase to $128, and the hourly rate after the first half hour will increase to $187. Item number 2 is related to various charges to turn on gas and/or water services. Items A and B are referred to as regular turn-on fees, either scheduled or unscheduled priority. We're proposing to increase these rates 2% to $104 and $132 respectively. Item 2C, turn on gas and/or water service after turn off for non-payment of bills or violation of district rules next day, is a turn-on charge I mentioned earlier related to collection accounts. This price is below our cost, but will help to reduce the burden on many of our customers who are experiencing financial difficulties. And we're proposing to hold this fee flat at $75. The next item is the price for installation of a 3/4-inch water meter with ERT. These meters are installed in newly constructed homes and are typically charged to the builder and not directly to the homeowner. We're proposing to increase this price to $393. And the increase is driven primarily by the cost of materials. The last item is the fee for the tapping and inspection of a water main with a 1-inch corporation. We're proposing to increase this price to $626. This increase is driven by an upgrade to the corporation fitting that includes an insulator that reduces the risk of corrosion, failures, and helps prolong the life of our water mains.
Stephanie?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question up there on number 1, field services labor? If I recall right, Bonnie, our contract gave them 3.5% annual increase in their wages this past year?
3.25.
For their annual rate merit increase or for salary?
Correct, for the general increase.
Okay. And this is going up, higher than that. Is it because of the all-in cost benefits and everything else? Is that all
correct.
included?
Yes, that is all included, yes. Vehicle amount, we charge a vehicle rate, that's also included in that as well.
So it's an all-in cost?
Yes,
Okay,
that's correct.
thank you.
Yep. Okay, on the next page, I'd like to discuss the more significant price increases being proposed, and these are defined as those increasing more than $200 or more than 15%. Item 1 reflects the price of the damage to a special locking device for gas and water service. This price includes the cost of the lock as well as the labor for the field service technicians to perform this work. And again, this price increase is driven primarily by the cost of materials. Item 2 is the installation of a 5/8-inch and a 1-inch water meter with ERT. And as previously mentioned on the 3/4-inch water meter, the increase is driven by the increase in the cost of materials. And again, these materials are installed in newly constructed homes and are typically charged to the builder and not directly to the homeowner. Item 3 reflects the fee for the tapping and inspection of a water main with a 3/4-inch corporation, and item 4 reflects the pricing of taps on PVC mains. The increase for these items are driven by the upgrade to the corporation fitting that I mentioned previously. Item 5 reflects the pricing of large water taps. The price includes the cost of the materials as well as water distribution and field service technician labor who perform this work. The increase is driven by the rising cost of materials for taps on the listed size of mains and increase in labor costs. In addition, we typically report to you any new billing items being proposed, and this year we are not recommending any new fees to include in the billing price book. And then finally, following board approval, we'll place the revised billing price book on the external website with an announcement that the fees will change effective June 1st. This will allow customers and contractors to review pricing in advance of the June 1st effective date. Are there any questions? All right, thanks for your time today.
Thank you. Construction Operations, Senior Vice President and COO Kendall Miner will review the proposed capital expenditures behind tab 6. Kendall.
Good afternoon. For this month's board meeting, we have 5 items for buildings, plants, and equipment, 3 items for system improvements. I want to highlight 3 items today. The first item under building, plants, and equipment is LNG boil-off piping installation. It's approximately $98,000. This is some installation that was installed back in the early 2000s. It has shown some deterioration, about 200 linear feet of 4-inch insulation on the pipe run needs to be reinstalled or redone. It actually will be, the 4 inches is actually 8 layers of cryogel, which aligns with LNG's CIPs, but also our gas standards for the industry as it coincides with what was needed for that level of cooling for that pipe and for that installation to be installed. So for that, that's the first item I wanted to cover. The next item, Platte West Well redevelopment, is $1.1 million. This is a part of the Platte West Well maintenance program. There are 6 wells that are selected to be a part of this redevelopment for each year. We have a total of 42 wells, 21 on the Saunders side, 21 on the Douglas County side. This is needed for pump capacity, longevity of the pumps, making sure they're well maintained, make sure we're able to get the amount of consumption that we need into the plants for water treatment for our customers every day. So this is something that we're going to do 6 wells per year, which are to be rehabilitated for 2025 to 2027, right? So every 6 wells per year. So we'll continue until we get all 42 of the wells rehabilitated.
And Kendall, is that total cost the total for all 6 years, not each year?
That's right. It's a total for 6 each year, right? And so with that being said, that includes all your labor, all your materials, all the costs for the pumps to be rebuilt, all the rehab, all-in costs. So the last item I wanted to kind of cover on the system improvements is abandon and replace the ductile iron mains. This is about $682,000 worth of work. This work is to eliminate any conflicts with proposed grading, paving, and storm sewers in Sarpy County. This project is anticipated to begin in sometime this month and constructed by district crews. The estimated cost for this work is around $75,000, which a portion of this work is deemed to be reimbursable due to the water mains being installed and permanent easements. So a lot of work going on this month and within this CNA. And with that, I'll wrap it up and see if you guys have any questions or concerns. One thing I do want to note, though, that I failed to mention just a minute ago, on the system improvements, a lot of the abandonments and replacements that are done within Sarpy County, Douglas County, all the surrounding counties, that Papillion, all the areas we work with, there's a lot of pre-engineering work, pre-planning to make sure that we're doing a lot of our due diligence up front. to eliminate as many of these conflicts as possible. A lot of the conflicts and things like these are normally resolved with engineering on the pre-planning side. So when the ones we do bring to you guys for system improvements, there is a lot of work going on in the background that engineering is doing to help mitigate this as much as possible so we can reduce our cost to our customers. With that, any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Director of Plant Engineering Trevor Tonagis will review acceptance of contracts and payment of final estimates behind tab 7.
Good afternoon. Trevor Tonagis, Director of Plant Engineering. I'm excited to bring 7 projects to you this month. I'm going to highlight a few of them on the finals letter here. I do have an exhibit, Jay, if you don't mind pulling that up. Thank you. So the first 3 items on the letter this month are large transmission main projects. These are primarily in South and Southwest Omaha. WP 1842, that's shown in the red on the screen. The pink is the existing water transmission main system. The red are the new pieces that were a part of this project. This consisted of 16 to 36-inch water main extensions in southern Sarpy County. This was a developer-driven project for some data center and other work down there, but ultimately this will also serve development within that area into the future and will also connect someday to the future Southwest Reservoir. Next slide, please, Jay. WP 2014, shown in red, that's on the top left, that short section there along Center Street. This was a 42-inch water main extension along West Center. This addresses a gap in our system. It's the final segment of this run, and it will, or has successfully connected Skyline Reservoir to Zone 2 in our system. The main extension here will increase pumping efficiency, reduce velocities in existing mains, and just overall improve the system reliability. And then finally, also shown on this, you can see bottom left of the screen there, WP 2031. This was a 36-inch water main extension near 204th and Harrison. And this addresses the need for development within that rapidly growing area in Sarpy County, and also helps to move water more efficiently from the Platte West treatment facility. So these 3 projects combined total just over $16.5 million in construction costs, and added almost 5 miles to our transmission main system. Again, anywhere from 42 down to 16-inch ductile iron pipe there. The total cost for all of these jobs came in at just 0.1% above the original contract value, and they were all successfully completed by Judd's Brothers Construction. At this point, I'd like to give a shout out to Nick Clifford. Big thank you to him. He's on the plant engineering team and did a really nice job managing all of the construction on this, and then also Bob Taylor in our water department, who's been running this master plan, and this is a big piece of all that coming together. So. The couple other projects that I want to highlight, items D and E were new development projects. One was in the Cherry Creek area. This is right next to our CC2 construction area. And then the other was in Woodbrook Valley near 186th and Ida. The 2 projects totaled about 2.25 miles of 6-inch and 8-inch main that were added to our system to serve these development areas. Both of these were successfully completed by Cedar Construction. And then the last item I'll bring up is item G. This project was to recondition a low service motor, the number 2 motor at Florence Treatment Facility. The initial base bid on this one was just to pull the motor, get it hauled off, and then they had to tear it apart to see what all needed to be done to successfully rehab that motor. We did get alternate bids up front for some kind of common items that we would do on that. So after they disassembled, cleaned, tested everything, and then finally painted it, the additional scope to get that motor rehabbed came back, and that's why you see a little bit higher percentage-wise there on the bid. But the total CNA amount was $150,000, so we still came in favorably on that one.
And when you say the total amount, that's how much a brand new one would cost to But brand-new low-service motor?
No,
No, what much
we
is that?
we did a rehabilitation on this one, so we budgeted $150,000 to rehab the motor and do the repairs. So
Okay.
by the time they tore it all apart and got everything repaired, it was much less than what we had budgeted for.
Okay.
But it's still much less than a brand-new motor.
All
so.
right, well, how much is like a brand-new one, just in morbid
would-
curiosity? Anybody know?
Doug in here? Doug, do you have even a wild guess? Yeah, we can
More
get
than
back.
$150,000?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to educate myself. Thank you.
Any other questions? That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Procurement and Enterprise Services, John Zellers, will now review bids on materials and contracts behind tab 8.
Hi, good afternoon. John Zellers, Vice President, Procurement Enterprise Services. Bids and materials can be found under tab 8. There are just 2 items that I plan to discuss this afternoon, and the first may be found at the bottom of page 2. We are requesting the ratification of the purchase of 2 discharge valves on high service pump number 5 and 6 at Platte South. Parts for both valves are no longer available, and one of the valves has failed. Both pumps are out of service until the valves are replaced, and to expedite the replacement of the valves, a purchase was made with the low bidder. The second item is under the information technology heading at the top of page 2. We are asking for an extension of Infotech's contract to provide research, strategic support, and resources needed to optimize IT operations. These services include topics such as technology upgrades, cybersecurity practices, infrastructure and operations, project and portfolio management, vendor negotiations, and process improvements. In 2023, quotes were received for these services in which Infotech was selected. They provide the lowest cost for the service relevant to our needs. Infotech is currently in the midst of working with our IT team on a few initiatives to include benchmarking, project prioritization, which will be implemented after S/4HANA, so very soon, and a data strategy and governance program that would not be fully leveraged if we change providers. Infotech has performed well over the last 2 years, and though there is an annual increase of approximately 8.5%, their current pricing is lower than the second quote that we retained in 2023. The extension of their contract is recommended for approval. And with that,
John, is there any contractual obligation to renew this contract?
no, no, there's no contractual obligation.
Okay, so it was bid or wasn't bid, or?
Yeah, we received proposals in 2023.
Okay. It's the first extension of the existing contract?
Correct.
And it went up 8.5%,
Correct.
but still better than number 2?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Services and Extensions, Vice President of Engineering, Masania, will now review the proposed main extensions behind tab 9. Masa?
Good afternoon. Masania, Vice President of Engineering. Behind tab 9, we have the main extensions letter for 5 water and 2 gas projects this month. The impact of the water main extensions include water service and fire protection for 70 residential, 29 multifamily, and 1 commercial lot. The impact of the proposed gas mains include available gas service for 490 residential, 1 multifamily, and 2 commercial lots. Jay, if you could pull up the map. I'd like to speak to project number 4 on the letter, which is WP 2127. It's a water main extension along Hidden Valley Drive from Platteview Road to 5th Street, as seen on the map. It's that green section shown in the middle there, labeled as Phase B. This is part of a larger phase transmission main extension requested by the City of Bellevue to bring district water to southeastern Bellevue, including the city's LB 840 Economic Development Zone for future development. WP 2127 will connect the western and eastern segments seen in blue and brown there, previously approved at the November 2023 board meeting. The board may recall that we had Phase B removed at the request of the City of Bellevue as they're seeking grant funding. And ultimately, they came back to us and said that they were unsuccessful getting grant funding and they're wanting to move forward with this, and so it's on the board letter today. I've got another map, and I'd like to highlight the last project, number 5 on the letter. This project was previously approved by the board at the September 2024 meeting for $2,879,900. We used historical costs with similar scope and size to present that to the board previously. The project has since been bid and costs have come in higher than previously approved. Therefore, we brought the supplemental CNA forward with the updated cost around $3.48 million. As part of it, the district costs increased incrementally around $570,000 as the district is pioneering this 24-inch water main on the project. And we've seen more of this recently with some of the costs coming in higher than what historical costs have been, and the engineering team is making adjustments to those estimates to reflect that, especially in some of these corridors where there's future grade cuts and fills for future road improvement. That way we make sure we're not coming back with more relocation projects than necessary. That's all I have to present, and would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Personnel, Vice President of Human Resources, Bonnie Savine will now review the employee wage and salary increases and ratifications behind tab 10.
Good afternoon. Bonnie Savine, Vice President, Human Resources. I will start with a quick recap of employee counts as well. At the end of April 2024, we had 889 regular full-time employees and 5 regular part-time for a total of 894. To end this April, there were 890 regular full-time and 3 regular part-time for a total of 893, as well as 15 part-time temporary interns. Next, a review of jobs actively in various stages of job placement. We are extremely busy in the job placement realm of things right now. We just hired 10 new customer service clerk 1s on Monday, so they are beginning their training at this time, and so that is in addition to our 893. We also have 9 jobs with requisitions routing through the approval process. We have 6 jobs currently posted for 10 vacancies. 1 is external only. It happens to be an intern position. 5 others are internal only. We have 16 jobs in the application and interview stage, application review and interview stage. That's for an additional 18 full-time equivalents. And 4 other jobs have 10 selected candidates, including 6 pipe layer trainees, a couple of communication clerk 2s in our dispatch area, and others. And those will be onboarding here in the next 2 to 3 weeks, along with 23 summer employees who are starting some next Monday and the rest June 2nd. So we will have lots of onboarding going on over the next 4 weeks. Behind tab 10, you'll find the wage and/or salary increases and ratifications letter. Human Resources is recommending the Board of Directors approve wage or salary increases for 21 employees this month. 10 are OAC employees who will have wage increases due to a posted promotion. 1 OAC wage increase due to a job transfer. We also have 8 OAC employees who would have wage increases because of a natural job progression from a trainee role to a regular role. And then we have 2 SPA salary increases due to promotion as well. No ratifications this month. Are there any questions on that letter?
Bonnie, I have one.
Yes.
I should know the answer to this, I assume, but on the second page there, the person, that Tyler Groves, his new proposed position has EN. What's EN stand for?
Sure. That means the entry wage, and then we have steps 1, 2, 3, and step 4. Step 4 is standard wage.
So entry.
Entry.
Thank you.
You got it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are the spots in customer service due to attrition, or has our work increased to demand that many people being hired all
Sure.
at once?
It is a combination of a few things, several promotions into other areas. We've had a few retirements in some of our higher level positions within the division. And so through some of that trickle down effect of others getting promoted, there have been some additional vacancies. And it's nice to be able to bring them on in a group. They come through as a class and they get to go through training and build some relationships and do all of that at the same time. And so it worked out that they were all able to be hired on one day. You're welcome.
Bonnie, isn't it typical that this is the time of year where we do have promotions and hiring new customer service employees to, the summer months I seem, our goal is to have 90% of calls that come in to be answered by an employee within 1 minute time. And we always seem to have a month or two where, because of the transition with employees leaving customer service on the promotions, that we do have an influx of new hires. Is that a pattern that we've seen in recent years?
I would say that is this is the time of year for not just customer service, but several of our divisions to see a bit of onboarding. Typically around the end of the year is when we will see a small batch of retirements. We try to work ahead of those if we know that they are planned in advance to start some recruitment processes. But winter time is certainly not our peak time. And so springtime with construction, with water distribution, with engineering, and certainly the call center, those are the times that we begin to see some of that recruitment start to really come to fruition. In addition, we try to time some of the other things like training groups, IT projects that might be going live, so a variety of factors that are taken into consideration by the supervisors when they put a plan together to post for some of their jobs.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Thanks.
Thanks, Bonnie. J&L, Government Relations Attorney Rick Kubat will now review the fourth legislative report for 2025 behind tab 11. Rick?
Good afternoon. In front of you is the legislative report. The first paragraph speaks to the fact that the legislature is grappling with a significant budget deficit, and via that they're going to have to look at spending cuts, revenue bills, or transfers from the cash fund. Today they are on the second of the two mainline appropriations bills, and they're grappling with it as we speak. The first bill on your list is LB 36. That was the district's wellhead protection bill. That bill looks like it's going to be a 2-year project for us, because what the legislature has done is they gutted our provision of the bill and inserted seven other legislative items within that bill. I'm hoping that we can perhaps get something done with that next year. That being said, I'm requesting that the board changes our position from support to neutral, given the fact that the district's bill is no longer included in that particular item. The next item I wanted to touch upon was on page 2 is LB 317 by Senator Brandt. That was the bill that merged the Nebraska Department of Natural Resources with the Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy. That bill has passed. It was signed into law by the governor, and it contained the emergency clause, meaning that it has taken effect. As of this morning, the governor has appointed Matt Manning as the chief water officer, and as expected, interim director Jesse Bradley is the new director of the Department of Water, Energy, and Environment. The last item I wanted to speak to was LB 580 by Senator Kavanaugh. That was the bill that essentially requested that the state not sweep the $8 million lead service line cash fund, which was created for the district to pay for lead service line removals. What it looks like at this juncture that the committee is doing is, or the appropriations committee's done with the appropriations bills, is it looks like they're going to sweep 2 of our $8 million. We may very well come back to the board at the June board meeting to discuss with you possible options of securing that remaining $2 million. With that, I don't have anything else unless any members of the board have any questions.
Rick, this is Gwen Howard. With all the scrambling that's going around down there right now, how's the tobacco fund? Is that still intact?
I don't know. And I apologize, but
I know it's not in our particular bailiwick, but since they're looking at every possible source, and that's always been kind of a sacred cow, I was just wondering what's happened with it.
and I think specifically you're talking about the healthcare cash fund.
Yes.
I will find out and get back to you.
Thank you.
Now, Rick, when you talk about securing any unused funds, is that the same as encumbering any funds? And are we in a position to encumber any of the unused funds now so that we can use them in the future?
Yes. So the legislature appropriated $8 million to the district to do our lead service line replacement project. We are spending down those funds as fast as possible. We really didn't come to an agreement with the state of Nebraska on how to expend those funds up until it was roughly 9 or 12 months ago. Our deadline on that is June 30th, and the program operates under a reimbursement basis. And because we're in the current biennium budget, we've got to spend down those funds prior to June 30th of this year. So we're going to have roughly $4 million of those funds submitted for reimbursement, capable of being reimbursed. And then the remaining $4 million, the legislature is still going to set aside $2 million for us in the future to go after and grab for that project. The question becomes whether or not we can perhaps secure the remaining $2 million via loan. And that's something that internally we've had several conversations about. And we're exploring that avenue so that perhaps the district's important lead service line cash fund dollars will not be swept. It's just really a victim of their fiscal situation down in Lincoln. There are numerous cash funds that are being swept in an attempt to balance the state's budget.
Okay. All right, thank you. We'll look forward to any updates you have on this.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with that answer, so sorry I had to expand on that one a bit.
Rick, do you basically see this as kind of the chickens coming home to roost after the mini business tax breaks and deferments that have been given over the past few years?
That's certainly a theme from some members of the body that the state of Nebraska is not necessarily on a sustainable path given the recent corporate and income tax cuts that they've passed over the last year or two. And to your point, Director Howard, not only do they have a deficit in the current projected biennium, but the recent forecasting board has also projected that they're going to be at this juncture, and this is looking far down the road, that they're going to be an additional $190 million short in the subsequent biennium budget.
Wow. Thank you for being on duty for us.
Rick, to add to Director Howard's question, there's a bill in Lincoln right now, and I'm going to ask you if it's got any traction to postpone the corporate and income tax cuts that were passed, to postpone them until we get through this difficult period. Does that bill or bills related to it have any chance of passing?
It has certainly been a matter of debate during the pending appropriations bill, but my current handicapping, from what I can tell, it doesn't seem that a majority of the body would be in favor of slowing down those previously passed tax cuts.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this is exactly what happened in Kansas about a decade ago, correct? That we're kind of seeing similar things happen here that happened in Kansas?
That's a good question. I know the Kansas plan, that the state of Kansas did run into some fiscal trauma due to some significant tax breaks. Whether or not they mirrored the state of Nebraska's proposed tax cuts from the last couple of sessions, to be honest, I don't know. But certainly there are some similarities between the two.
It goes back further than the last couple of sessions, though. I mean, I think back to Mutual of Omaha no longer being an insurance company and now a benevolent fund.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, they certainly seem to have kind of a structural deficit issue going on at the moment. Thanks.
Thank you, Rick. M.U.D. District Attorney, not Douglas County, M.U.D. District Attorney Justin Cooper will now present the Lot 1 Tepley's Timber Addition Condemnation Authority request.
Good afternoon.
Behind tab 12.
Justin Cooper, staff attorney here at M.U.D. I'm here seeking condemnation authority for a property at 180th and excuse me, Highway 370. This is part of the water main to get water to the city of Gretna in a wholesale fashion. We're seeking 0.266 acres. We've had several conversations with the owner, have not been successful, but we will continue those. But in order to avoid delaying the project, we're seeking condemnation authority today. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Insurance and Pensions, Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer Mark Myers will present the proposed changes to pension and OPEB investment policy statements found behind tab 13.
Good afternoon, Mark Myers, Senior Vice President, Chief Financial Officer. Yes, I'll be discussing some proposed changes to the investment policy statements for the district's pension and OPEB plans. PNC Institutional Asset Management serves as our co-fiduciary and discretionary investment advisor for the pension and OPEB plans. They recently completed a study, and they're recommending some changes to the allocation of the investments in those plans. The changes include reducing the allocation to real estate investment trusts, or REITs, from 8% to 4%. And that 4% reduction would be offset by a 2% increase in investments in U.S. equities and a 2% increase in non-U.S. or international equities. Due to a number of factors, PNC believes that REITs no longer provide the diversification benefits they once did compared to traditional equity investments. So these changes in the allocation require revisions to the investment policy statements. Copies of those revisions are included in your materials, along with a memo that summarizes the percentage changes. This information was presented to the Insurance and Pension Committee at a meeting held on April 21st, and the committee approved the recommendation. And we do have Steve Shapiro, one of our investment advisors from PNC, attending by WebEx today, and he's available to answer any questions you may have. If there are no questions, thank you.
AEF&R, Director of Rates and Regulatory Affairs, Geneva Patterson, will present the proposed revisions to Rate Schedule F, fixed rate gas service found behind tab 14.
Good afternoon. Geneva Patterson, Director of Rates and Regulatory Affairs. Behind tab 14 are proposed revisions to Rate Schedule F, which is our fixed gas rate service. This rate schedule allows commercial and industrial customers to purchase fixed quantities of gas at a fixed price for a fixed period of time up to 48 months. We propose incorporating additional language to clarify customer expectations during periods of curtailment and to clarify penalties when a customer enters into a Schedule F fixed agreement and subsequently requests early termination of that agreement. Curtailment refers to the district temporarily reducing or stopping the supply of gas to customers under our Schedule 3 interruptible rate schedule. This measure is typically taken during periods of high demand or limited supply to maintain system stability and reliability. For Schedule 3 interruptible customers with a Schedule F fixed agreement, the new language clarifies that the Schedule F agreement does not exempt Schedule 3 interruptible customers from the requirement to switch to standby facilities or refrain from use during curtailment periods. Additionally, interruptible customers will be responsible for pipeline penalty charges if gas is curtailed and they do not switch to standby facilities or refrain from use. We propose adding penalty language to any Schedule F customer requesting early termination for their agreement. The penalty will be $1.50 per decatherm of contracted gas being terminated, plus an additional charge equal to the contract unit cost of gas minus the system weighted average cost of gas per decatherm. Furthermore, the customer will be barred from entering into future fixed agreements for a period of at least 5 years. These revisions to Schedule F are to ensure that district and other customers are not adversely affected if a customer backs out of a fixed agreement, leaving the district with excess gas and the associated penalties for meeting the agreed terms. Management is requesting an effective date of June 2nd, 2025. Are there any questions?
Geneva, just a quick comment, just to clarify for everyone. I think there's only 2 customers on this rate schedule, Kellogg's and OPPD, is that right?
Kellogg's and Mutual of Omaha currently. We did have an agreement with OPPD. Any other questions?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Committee of the Whole, Director of Infrastructure Integrity, Evan Martin, will present the Infrastructure Replacement Program update.
Good afternoon. Evan Martin, Director of Infrastructure Integrity. This afternoon, I will be giving an update, the annual update to our Infrastructure Replacement Program. If we could pull up our presentation here. Pictured on this first slide is an inspection that we performed in 2022, and we inserted our inspection tool near the Field Club Reservoir, and I'll be giving an update on this later in the presentation. To start off with our gas system, we started in 2008 with over 560 miles of targeted gas mains. Today we have roughly 76 miles remaining. The Gas IR program is managed by the Gas Design Group within the engineering department. Pictured here is what our original gas targeted system looked like in 2008. And today you can see the remaining mileage that we have. In orange, we have pictured, highlighted our projects for 2025, and I'll show that again. So here's the 560 miles of targeted cast iron gas mains. And here's our system today. So you can see the vast amount of work that has taken place over roughly 17 years. It's almost like repiping a small community. If we look at the progress year to year, the blue bars represent the number of miles that were placed each year in the Gas IR program. The dashed black line is the remaining mileage, and you can see how many miles we have taken care of over this time. The focus with the rest of our program is getting to 0 miles as cost effectively as possible. A large portion of the remaining mileage is planned to be funded with PHMSA grant dollars and constructed by M.U.D crews. For our Gas IR 2.0 program, so this is the next phase of the Gas IR program, the goal of this program is to reduce the number of inside meter sets that we have on our high pressure gas system. We'll be upgrading our system concurrently as we wind down the cast iron gas replacement program. In 2025, we're planning for roughly 2,000 inside meters to be moved outside and roughly 20 miles of steel main to be abandoned as a part of that project. If we look at the impact of the cast iron gas replacement program with regard to leaks on that system, we can see the dramatic effect that it has had over time. Just just looking at this visual doesn't do it justice. Speaking with folks that have been around during that spike in 2014, a gas leak is much more disruptive on a cast iron system than a normal leak today. So there's added benefits to this program that are not shown in this graph. So we have a more reliable system today with less unplanned maintenance required.
Evan, for 2.0, what's the timeline for 2.0? Has that been established yet?
That's a great question. I might have to, about 10 years on that program.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Moving on to the water main replacement program. In 2024, we had another year of high water main breaks, as shown on this graph. And as you can see, the trend of the water main breaks is increasing. The goal of our water main replacement program is really to bend that curve of those breaks over time. We had a total of 598 breaks in 2024, and you can see the distribution of those across our system in this graphic. With each of those main breaks, our construction crews collect data on those breaks while they're out in the field. Our team gathers that data, analyzes it, and puts it into our GIS system so that we can visually see where our highest risk mains are. Every segment of pipe in our system, we assign and calculate a risk score, and that's pictured here that we can then use to target main replacement. In 2024, we replaced about 16.6 miles of water main. In 2025, we're planning for 17 miles of replacements. We're continuing to refine our designs and our installation methods. We're refocusing our condition assessment program on some of our higher consequence mains, and I'll touch on that later in the presentation, and continuing to plan to increase our water main replacement goals.
Evan, excuse me.
Yes.
On the 2025 target of 17, how much of that is M.U.D. crews and how much is outsourced?
So we're planning on 7 miles with M.U.D. crews and then 10 miles with contracted crews.
Thank you.
Yep. Pictured here are the 2024 projects that we completed last year, and you can see where those took place across the city. And then moving on to our 2025 planned replacement projects. Give a quick update on our corrosion program. So a majority of our water main breaks are due to corrosion. So I just wanted to highlight a pilot project that we did last year. We performed an anode retrofit project. It's basically installing a sacrificial anode on our water mains that can protect our mains from corrosion. And this isn't new technology, but just the installation method, which is pictured here, is new to the water side, where we can pothole and install these from above ground in a more cost-effective manner. So it's just another tool in our tool chest that we're going to continue to look at going forward. Now I'll highlight the condition assessment program. We continued with our program last year in 2024 with both distribution and concrete main inspections, and those are pictured visually here. And I'll just kind of show some of the history of the condition assessment program. We've been doing concrete main inspections for a while, and you can see the number of miles that we've done in the past. In 2021, we started exploring condition assessment of other materials, cast iron and ductile iron, and we continue that today. Pictured here is the Pica Sea Snake inspection that we did last year, 12-inch cast iron main. We inspected about 1.5 miles. We get some really granular data with this type of inspection, and our M.U.D. crews assist with the installation and the inspection as well. We piloted the Mueller E-Pulse condition assessment on some of our smaller diameter mains. We did 3.2 miles of inspection. It's less granular, but lower impact on our customers and our crews for that type of inspection. So we're looking at a variety of different inspection methods. Also in 2024, we continued with the concrete inspection using the Pure Technologies pipe diver, as you've seen pictured before. We did a 42-inch concrete main inspection, about 2.5 miles for that inspection. And pictured here, we have the insertion of the tool, and then this is the extraction of the tool. Now, the case study that I mentioned earlier on the inspection that started at Field Club, this was an inspection on a 54-inch concrete main that went from our Field Club reservoir to our 36 and Edna pump station. It was about 6.5 miles of main that we inspected. With the data that we received back, we did find some areas of concern that we wanted to address. Pictured on the left are the areas where you can see kind of the rust coming through the pipe, and those are the areas that we needed to repair. On the right are the repair clamps that we installed to bring this pipe back up to good working condition. And I just wanted to highlight some of the financial analysis that we did. So at a high level, a replacement of a 6.5 mile 54-inch main would be probably north of $60 million to replace that. And we looked at the actuals for our inspection and our repair cost, and those are around $900,000. So for about 1 to 1.5%, we can inspect and repair a main of that total replacement cost. So I just wanted to highlight really the benefit of this type of inspection. We continue to look at construction methods and materials. Pictured here is one of our HDPE projects. We're continuing to use that. We're seeing benefits with design, constructability, cost, and durability of that material. We're continuing with our pipe bursting program. We did 3.8 miles in 2024. And I'll just touch at those at a high level. And with that, I'll open it up for any questions you may have.
Evan, you said in the gas side we had a target of 17 miles replacement?
I believe it's 12 miles for 2025 for the cast iron.
Okay.
Did you say gas or water?
I said gas, but I'm getting to water.
Okay.
So for water, you said it's 12. How much is M.U.D. and how much is third party?
So for the gas side of the 12 miles, we're going to be doing all M.U.D. crews for that 12 miles. For the gas IR 2.0 program, that's going to be contracted out. So M.U.D. is planned right now to complete our cast iron program, M.U.D. crews.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. President Mark Doyle will present the state of the district, and it would be under tab B if I'm correct.
It's hard not to say good morning, good afternoon. Yeah, it's been 30-some years of morning meetings, and it is interesting, Chairman Kavanaugh.
Everybody's awake. How about that?
Everybody's awake. How about that? So thanks for the opportunity to present what we call the annual State of the District. By the way, Mark Doyle, President, officially. Every year I think about it a little differently, and working with the team, I'm trying to not only institutionalize this, and for those that don't recall, Chairman Begley, or Director Begley, it might have been chair at the time, suggested that this is a board directive that whoever's in this role gives an annual presentation called the State of the District. To me, thinking about it and going through this year's process, it seems like it's more of a strategic planning update and a look back. And it's not always a look back, because I did include some information from this year. So if you see some things that look maybe a little old, it's because we're generally talking about 2024. But first, I want to thank everybody that assists. And, primarily I have a couple folks, Tracy Christensen in general, that serves up things that makes this very, when I say easy, messaging is not easy ever. It's important, and we need to be deliberate. But to receive what I received through the annual report, which you receive, and the drafts of these is like, okay, we may not be 100% on the same page with everything across all 900, but we're pretty much on the same page. And most of the things in this address are not total surprises to you, and that's good. this is an address to the public that you represent, and these are historical archives. So thanks for the opportunity and directing this, because it'd be easier not to do it. But I used to get nervous about it. I started this, I think, in 2018, maybe 2019. I don't remember if it was after former President Scott Keep's last one that year or not. But I would get nervous about it. Now I'm excited about it. So it's taken a few years, but I really enjoy this update. And what I'm going to try to do, since we've already had the infrastructure integrity update, I'll touch on that just a little, but I'd like to work through it and get to any questions or discussion you want to have quicker than I usually do. I said that right now to hold myself to it, so get your timers out. So first slide, Jay, second slide, I might say. I like to have the mission and the vision up there. You know, with your help or with your support, we've changed the wording a little bit. We want to enhance the quality of life by delivering safe, reliable, and cost-effective natural gas and water essential for today and future generations. It really is a vocational type of role here for all of us, as opposed to just jobs or careers. And the vision to surpass customer expectations while committing to the growth of a vibrant community. Certainly we can't surpass every customer expectation. We don't expect to, but a little later I'll talk about one of the processes that we use to see if we're hitting the mark. And I will tell you, 7 years into this role and prior to that, the interaction that the public receives through your emails that come to us and get handled, it's invaluable. It's not the problem that we're dealing with, it's the real surprising expectation that our customers actually get an answer back through anybody at M.U.D. all the way up through me and the board. You can't really value the quality of that type of feedback and what it does for us. But I can tell, because I live in this community, I've been an M.U.D. customer forever, and I go to the grocery store, and they know where I work, and I'm telling you, sure, we're always going to get a few things, and I get them all. The feedback is great. Our 900 employees are out in the community every day doing what they do, and some days it's bigger than others, and your representation is just stellar. So I want to get rolling into this. So we decided to baseline this presentation off of the areas of focus that are on the next slide, our strategic framework that we worked with you on and received your approval. They're not everything, but they're 5 key areas that we're going to focus on and always get better. And we corresponded with the board maybe a week or two ago about how we're going to make sure that this strategic framework is a living document and that it's not, you know, Director McGowan asked, how does it not go stale? Hopefully that met your expectations and answered the questions that you have, and we always appreciate your support. So strategic asset management is the first one, and investing and fully leveraging and safeguarding district assets, well, that's a mouthful. We have a lot of assets. We have a high dollar amount of assets, and they're critically important to the safety and the viability of the community we live in. Now for the look back to 2024, I, of course, couldn't talk about every asset we have or everything we're doing in terms of trying to make sure that we're not ignoring our assets and that we're putting processes and plans in place to make sure that depreciation, maintenance, renewal, all those things occur and they're as institutionalized into the future as they could possibly be. I'm happy to say that we're well into our plan on the renovations of the current construction center. I don't need to read this, but I want to tell you employee feedback that I receive when I walk around is very good. Go back to the time when we sold the downtown building and we brought our back office to this beautiful facility that you supported. It happened a little sooner than other things that maybe should have happened, but that also was predicated by the ability to really receive a nice price for the downtown building. That wasn't easy. Seems like a long time ago. It wasn't that long ago. But we, as promised to our employees, and this is in the area of keeping our promise to our employees like pension or OPEB or anything else, we are moving forward with our updates for our existing system, or our existing facilities. CC1's well underway. CC2 is well underway. The new construction center, which we can't wait to cut that ribbon in the spring of 2026. I'm going to say April. If any faces change behind me, I could be wrong, but I'm sticking with April. And it's something. It's a beacon of hope to make sure that we can take care of the community's needs and keep them safe and keep our products reliable in the event of natural disasters that would take out the other facility. Of course, there's a lot more to it than that, but we have all our eggs in one basket, and I'm trying not to be superstitious, so I said that out loud. Now, the gas system, which Evan covered, nice presentation, thank you. And it's not just Evan, that's a team effort, but it's really hopeful when I hear those presentations. Just a little reminder of, you're a couple of slides behind, Jay, my fault. Maybe you're not. Maybe it's me. I'm on the gas system update, right? Are you following with me? Okay. I just want to remind the board, if you don't know, we generally add 2,000 gas meters each year, without fail. So there's the growth since 1950 in terms of customers and 1960 in terms of miles of gas mains. And we're investing in the gas system. You've heard some of this, but I'd like to highlight some things in 2024 that I think are just critically important and could not be done without your support, because your support means we're investing our neighbors' dollars into what we do. So the $93 million LNG expansion, you can read the bullet points. I think we've talked about that quite a bit. We have a ribbon cutting next week. We're looking forward to that. Something that Vice President Jim Knight shared with us back in February when we were running the LNG plant, right? So it got really cold around the 20th. I think February 19th was a Wednesday. And that LNG plant put out 97,000 decatherms in one day. I have to look back. I need to be sure I'm right on this. You sent it to me, so. But a long time ago. Yeah, I'm sure it's right. So that day we were expecting, or the next day we were expecting maybe 350,000 decatherms. And don't worry about the units. It's a lot, and a record would be about 397,000. So we were bumping up against 350,000. That LNG plant was able to produce 97,000 decatherms, which is a record. Right out of the gate, a new plant. Previous record would be about 60,000 decatherms, which I think was capacity, maybe. And the difference in the cost of gas, go ahead, Director.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the 97,000 decatherms, how many homes is that equal to?
Jim will work on that while I keep talking. Divide it, pardon?
97,000.
Decatherms. Divided by 78 decatherms per house. Somebody can do that math.
So divided by, well, on that day, the average house uses 1 decatherm.
Oh,
So it'd be
got it.
97,000 on that day.
97,000 houses.
That's awesome. I didn't know that one. You're going to hear that one again. Okay, so we're saving about $5.50 a unit or a decatherm during that week. 200,000 LNG decatherms that week. So we saved $1.1 million. And that would be factoring out transportation costs and the other things that puts it to 550. We're just getting started. That was really something. And that, we know it's going to be a great thing, but that proved it out just in 1 week this year. And that's not too long after the plant was, I don't know if it was officially opened or we were just running a test that week, but it was running nonetheless. Okay, next slide. No, wait, back up. I don't need to talk about the gas infrastructure replacement program. I think Evan covered it and Rick Kubat mentioned the funding. Water system growth since 1960, similar, 2,000 meters a year. There's the growth charts, and it's interesting. It's not really an economic forecaster because we just stick with about 2,000 a year, and that would be meters, not customers. More customers than that, Tim. Director Kavanaugh. Okay, investing in water. 3 water production plants. We have capital improvement plans going on in every one of them, including our newest, Platte West, which is not so new anymore. I think Doug Whitfield told me that Florence is at full capacity. Is that right?
Correct.
So Vice President Whitfield informed me that Florence is at full capacity. That's really something. As you know, we're not only in the throes a while back of a really difficult, long needed upgrade. We had some unnecessary disruption that put us into mandatory water restrictions. We're at full capacity. That team's worked really hard, and I'm happy to say we're in much better shape now, and kudos to the entire team. Storage and pumping, you know we opened the West Dodge Pump Station. We have other 2 reservoirs planned, and I think we've updated you on those recently. And then Evan covered the water infrastructure replacement program. I don't need to, he did part of my job here, so that was nice. Lead water service replacement, LSLR, detect, correct, protect. I think we've talked quite a bit about this. Thank you for your support on that. We are funding the replacement of customer-owned water services that are made of or contain lead. We're well on our way, major team effort. We're learning a lot as we go. I will leave it at that. As you know, you approved some 4 bids. It was either last month or the month before. So we're definitely ramping up. I wouldn't say we're full steam ahead, but we don't know what full steam really is yet. Speaking of assets, credit rating milestones. As you know, we received news that our gas system credit rating is maintained at A+, and that's very important. I know these financial things can be a lot, but one thing about the credit rating on the gas side is when the gas system was upgraded to A+, which I think was in 2017, there are things behind that until I'm told, I don't know, but once I'm told, I'm thinking, yeah, I get that. Of course, it helps with your borrowing. And because of the things on the prepaid gas side or the discount side, because of the things that you don't have to do because of your credit rating, we've been saving an additional $480,000 a year because of that credit rating had it been an A+ instead of an AA+. There's other things that would have to be done to back those funds up if we didn't have this type of credit rating. So it does make a big difference.
Mark, are these for both water and gas are AA+? Are they the second highest for both of them?
Yes.
Thank you.
And another thing that probably we're not talking about as much as we will in the future is keeping an eye out on what's happening at the federal level with things that may go away. We are a little concerned. Mr. Kubat informed us that there's talk about Congress contemplating removing tax-exempt status of municipal bonds. That would be very detrimental to our CPEP prepaid. And just to put that in perspective, we get about $14 million in prepaid discounts. And if that would go away, and we've always talked about those could go away and we need to plan for that because you have to cover that somehow if they weren't there. So $14 million in prepaid discounts, $8 million of that would be passed to our customers in higher gas costs. Does that make sense? $6 million would need to be recovered through rates. So of the $14 million, $8 million it would be gas costs. We'd have to pay more for that gas. We get about a 3-cent discount. Am I wrong?
No, it's about 50.
Oh, 50-cent discount. Yeah, that's a little different. Okay.
Is that still, excuse me, is that still a proposal or is there
Yes.
any projected time frame?
It's on the watch list. I've heard nothing new on that. Have you, on the
So that would certainly be a blow to our ratepayers.
it'd be tough. That'd be about $32.50 a month in rates. But it's just on the watch list. The reason I bring it up, there's a lot of other things we're watching, and we're trying to size them just to, but this one we were watching anyway because those could go away. Okay, next slide. Emergency response, I think we kept the board very well updated throughout the April tornadoes and the July windstorms. Our employees, right along with first responders, stellar assistance and help, keeping the community safe and trying to minimize that disruption. Just a hats off. That's 2024, all that occurred. And those are the things that you don't anticipate. We like to talk about public safety, and we like to talk about our emergency response on the gas side. It's gone down 33% since 2015. That doesn't just happen. That takes a lot of work. The inner circle represents 2015, where the average response time was almost 26 minutes. The outer circle represents last year, and the average response time was about 18.4 minutes. Every minute counts. Every second counts. We had 13,330 emergency gas calls. Of the 13,330, 1,170 of them were called coded emergencies. In other words, we need to dispatch and go. So I don't know, to put it in perspective, if you take that difference, it took about 8,775 less minutes to respond to all those emergencies that it would have in 2015, or 146 hours. So that makes us all feel real good. It doesn't just happen again. It takes an entire team effort from top to bottom. There's so many aspects of emergency response, whether it's water or gas, and these are the kind of things that we measure and you should feel really good about, because we can't do it without your support. Environmental stewardship. A couple of items that are new on that. We've told you about the Pheasant Point landfill, which will be another source of renewable natural gas, and it's a big one. I just heard yesterday that the third party that's bringing this gas to us completed over 7,000 feet of gas main at their cost. So that's more than a mile, not quite 2 miles. It's going to be the equivalent of 11,454 homes annual use. So renewable natural gas, which is off of a landfill that either has to be flared off or cleaned up and something done with it. We're able to bring it into a municipal gas system, any gas system. You clean it up and you distribute it to your customers. That's nice, and that's organic growth. That because we're available and ready to support those kind of things, we're able to do it. Don't want to overlook the State Street landfill. That's a nice little source of renewable natural gas also, 684 homes. So really well over 12,000 homes annual use in renewable natural gas, which is net zero, lower than zero emissions because it would have vented into the atmosphere. And then the CNG aspect of our business continues to grow. That wasn't what we thought it would be initially. It's not a residential application, it's a fleet application. You might see the UPS brown trucks running all over town that say natural gas or on the side of them. A portion of our fleet, buses, big trucks, that's the equivalent of 5,281 homes. And it's going to grow. There's a new engine out that's going to make that even better. It's going to continue to grow. Yeah, we'll just see how it does grow. It's good that we don't have to go out and market it like we did initially. It comes to us because we're ready for it. Okay, I want to customer satisfaction. So we use a survey where we try to determine the Net Promoter Score. Very simply, that means of all the survey respondents, you take the highest the best feedback and the worst, and you subtract them, and you come up with a Net Promoter Score. What it means is we're asking our customers what they think on a myriad of issues, and we'll take action accordingly. We're trying to evolve this into, where we're not overdoing it, we're not underdoing it. But if you go to the next slide, you'll see that our response rates have increased. The number of promoters, or the best responses, has increased last year on that feedback, and the detractors decreased. Sewer fees continue to impact customer perceptions. It's obvious. And you know, we bill for sewer. We make revenue billing for sewer, but it's our reputation that's you can try to talk somebody into what it really is or isn't. They just don't care. I mean, I won't say they don't care. I'm just talking, yeah, it's on our bill, and that's okay. But I don't ever want to hide from the fact that it is, and you seven are the ones that say whether it's there or not there. It's a significant amount of revenue. It'd be a tough one for me to say what should we do going forward. But it's something worth talking about when you're talking about reputation in a world like this.
Have we ever increased our fees to the city for collecting that?
We're working on a study now to propose some increases.
So I think it's well worth it to them to have us do it.
Oh, absolutely. But we are working on a study where we'll have more and better information for you, because we should. We're not a typical business, but we do run like a business in many aspects. So, yeah, we'll have better information. Of course, they're not a biller. We're a biller. That's how that happened back in the 50s. I don't know if it was called an interlocal agreement, but it just made sense for M.U.D. to bill for sewer for all the cities, and it was mainly Omaha at that time. But it was a couple cents on the bill at that time.
Mark,
Yeah, more now. Thank you.
I was having a conversation this week with some M.U.D. employees, and we're talking about the sewer fee on the M.U.D. bill, and this is a thorn in our side every month, every day. Is there any data captured? We talked about the pricing book at the start of this meeting. Is there any data that's captured to inform us that when somebody has to have their water service shut off, is that attributed to the sewer fee? Is there any data on that we know that that bill gets so damn high with the sewer fee?
See, you're asking if that impacts their ability to pay?
Yes, is that a main part of their decision as to why they can't pay their M.U.D. bill, why we have to shut their service off, why they have to pay $75 to have their service back on eventually?
That's a really good point.
I'd be curious to that too. I had a constituent call me and email me about that. We determined that some of the information needed to be researched, but what it amounted to was that the frustration with that part of her bill when she takes steps to do level pay and mitigate her bill to the extent that you can, the parts that you can control. So I'd be interested in that analysis, and jumping all the way ahead is if we could factor that in. If you're thinking about cutting somebody off, you're going to cut them off because of something that's been assessed to their bill, which is not related to their use. So some food for thought. Thank you.
We'll include, I would say, please give us your thoughts and feedback anytime, because we'll include those things in the study. And just some of the fundamentals of billing for sewer would include, you can't shut sewers off, right? So if you were billing for sewer on your own because you were a wastewater provider, how would you get it? And we're the ones doing the shutoff, which is the worst thing we'd want to do. It isn't directly just sewer because it's the entire bill, but I don't know. How could you argue that that isn't part of it, right?
I'll point out, it was Terry Kroll and Tom Todd who I was talking to, and they raised this issue with me, and I think it's worthy of discussion and analysis by the district. And I also want to thank Chairman Pitbull Kavanaugh for staying on this issue every month, every day. Thank you for your constant attention to this.
We'll come up with some new thoughts and ideas for sure, but your feedback's valuable. And I would say when we talk, us and Terry and Tom, we're all on the same page on this one because we're talking about our reputation. Now, the way sewer's calculated is by the amount of water you use only during the months where you're not factoring in irrigation and those things. So but we could provide water usage. I'm not encouraging this. I just want to make sure we know that, it's obvious to us, but when we get these feedback scores from our customers, it becomes more obvious. And we also need to make sure you're fully aware of the kind of revenue that's involved here.
Well, and what would be the odds of the city collecting from people if they had to do it themselves? Probably not real high.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's not uncommon. I'm pretty sure the city of Council Bluffs bills for sewer, and they do it quarterly, I think. Don't quote me on that, but there's a lot of information out there for us.
Well, I'd like to make a formal request that we look at what it would cost the city to bill for their sewer fee versus the revenue that we receive for being the billing agent, and see what that difference is, if it's at all possible to put together, which I hope it would be. Would we have to approach the city for that?
Well, I've often thought about that. It would be valuable to me if we're a provider on this, if you had to go out and do an RFP and we're one of the participants in the RFP. It would be really clear at that point. I don't know. I could be wrong. I think it'd be more, but I don't know until we actually take a scientific approach to it.
Well, I'd like to know that.
Okay.
The others would too.
Yes, I would.
Do you need a second on that?
I also know that a reputation is worth a whole bunch, too. And maybe that's being a recovering public relations person, but that's not something we could buy back if we got more money.
Exactly, Tanya. That's our reputation, and the fact that, as Jim brought up, we're adding a burden to our ratepayers with that monthly fee.
Now, I knew that line on that slide would generate discussion, and I didn't take it off, so.
Mark.
Somebody else put that on there, yes.
Mark, you can tell the sewer rate on our bill is a burr under the saddle of every board member. It's been that way. And like Tim said, he wants a formal study. Along with that study, can we see what other alternatives would there be available? I don't know. One thing I was talking to Jim Begley about was maybe what we could do is take it off our bill, and then we send out a separate billing to the customers with all the information, separate bill under this, and with the permission of the city, send the remittance direct to the city, separate it. We have all the information. We'll send out the bill, but we're in charge of the city for the billing, but it's off our bill. I don't know.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're actually looking at all options, and that would be one of them. True? Yeah.
Would you have to get agreement from the city to do that? I would wager they wouldn't agree to that, because they would know full well they'll come up short.
What's the alternative?
Well, there's another good question.
I think they call that the lockbox, where you would submit all bills to a certain post office box, and a contracted bank would process those bills and then send one check to the city.
Yeah, that lockbox concept, of course, I'm thinking of billing. We still have lockbox customers. So, yeah, we'd love to study that and have a discussion about it, but we need to be fully aware of the revenue. An extra bill would cost us more. That would cut into but all options are on the table.
Well, and one thing to keep in mind, every single one of the people that pay their sewer fee is also an M.U.D customer.
Correct.
So we have to be sensitive to our customers' overall quality of life, too. So there's a balance there.
And another thing that occurs that would be of interest to you for the constituents you represent, if we get into a position where something occurs and it was something wrong and we want to refund something, we have to refund sewer, we have to talk to who really that goes to, and there's all kinds of aspects to this. There's a reason why there's revenue in it. This is we're a biller, and not just anyone can bill like that and do everything it takes to support that. Okay? You've seen this before. This is the Memphis Gas, Light, and Water utility bill comparison. We can go on, Jay, unless there's any questions on that slide. Community engagement, we like to remind ourselves and the board and our customers that we are engaged in the community. We have 4 quarterly volunteer events that you'll see on the next slide. And of course, the community giving drive, which is the internal community giving drive, not to be confused with our Heat the Streets. That'll be 2 slides from now. We like to put a slide up on the hydration station because that's kind of a symbol of M.U.D. out in the community. And this year, or last year, 16 events. I have a list of them if you're interested, and I want to let you know that there's a process that the public has to procure and schedule the hydration station. We do our best to meet those objectives, and if there's ever anything you're interested in, you can just please bring it to us and we'll do our best.
Do we meet most of the requests?
I don't know for sure. For the most part?
About 90%.
Okay. And there would be very good reasons why we couldn't, or, it could be anything. Just, it takes employees to manage it, and it's always after hours, so, and they do a great job of it. So it costs us a little bit to put it out there, but I don't think anyone could argue that the value of being out there with this hydration station far exceeds anything that we would have to spend to do
Do the
it.
employees get any credit for after-hours work? Like if they work the station, they get to take the next morning off? Or is there any compensation for them hours?
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say they're pretty happy with the overtime, but if that's different, someone will correct me and I'll send it your way.
So
it's pretty nice.
Okay, I understand now if it's overtime.
I've visited with it. It looks like pretty nice duty, but I'm not the one there missing dinner, so I don't. This is just me talking.
And then a year ago, if I'm not mistaken, I think we were very involved with the hydration stations for the tornado victims in the area that lost, the ability to have clean water.
Yes.
Am I correct on that?
Yes, and we still have the water truck, and we're always available to bring water wherever we can, whether it's an emergency outage, a disruption because of water mains or something like that. The community really steps up in a big way, so we want to make sure we're not in the way. We're well connected in that regard.
Very good.
But yes, that's true. So this event, the Heat the Streets, which you are all familiar with, I asked to include the line item for 2025, which just occurred in March, and just to show you that I know Mark Mendenhall and his wife Bridget were co-chairs, and I think they get a lot of the credit for really putting the squeeze on some things to come up with some more money. But everybody steps up when they're asked, so it was a banner year. And I will tell you that that may seem like a lot of money, but the needs in the community are great and large. And one event that is advertised that brings people in for support depletes it. I mean, it's between everything we do and the fact that our community giving drive, we can allocate that toward our internal heat aid fund, home fund, pardon me. Hard to not say heat aid fund. It's needed, it's valuable, and very important. Don't ever want to overlook this. We could talk all day on this, and I'm not going to say too much. I'll let you take a look at the slides. Of course, we want to work hard to attract talent to M.U.D. We aren't always, in certain areas that are in hot demand, like IT and engineering, where, we need to attract people to M.U.D., and we have some things that maybe companies that can throw another $100,000 at a top IT person, we have things that they will stay here for. So We have to continually promote that. But we also don't want to ignore our current workforce, and we're going to do everything we can with their feedback to develop and engage them and make them feel better about where they work than they already do. Got a few industry recognition slides this year. The 2024 Business Excellence Award in Philanthropy from the Greater Omaha Chamber, voted 2024 and 25 Best of Omaha, and the Ideal Award at the Code Conference. Very proud of all those and all the employees that are involved, and it always takes time to do this and to go to the events to receive the awards too. I'm going to wrap it up there. This is just a page that you've already had, that the bigger version of the first page, or the framework for this report. And that's it for me, unless you have any. Thank you for interjecting and developing discussion during. That's really what I want to have happen.
Mark, thank you for the presentation. I meant to ask this, I was a little late. On slide 13, talking about emergency responses. So going back to 2019, we had that once-in-a-century flood that occurred.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a number of tornadoes, windstorms, et cetera. In any of those instances, has the district received reimbursement from FEMA when those were declared emergencies?
Who's got that off the top of their head? I know we have.
And the reason I ask is because
For the flooding, we did receive.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yes, when the flood occurred in 2019, we did receive some FEMA reimbursements for the flooding, particularly down at Platte South.
And the reason I bring that up is because there's discussion about the federal government doing away with FEMA and putting that all back on the states. And we see the state of Nebraska today is in a $292 million deficit trying to establish a biennial budget. That would have a huge impact on our ratepayers if, not only with M.U.D, but OPPD, going back a number of years, the city of Omaha, when all of our organizations get reimbursed from FEMA, I hope that's something taken into consideration as we budget for years going forward, if in fact the federal government does away with FEMA, because that would have a huge impact on our customer owners.
We would agree. We've, even before this, these concerns, we never feel like we're first in line. And in my opinion, because we've taken care of ourselves so well as this public utility, and because we're so self-sufficient, our reward is that we don't get much help. You know, the city of Lincoln, the kind of help they're getting to develop a water plant. I can't imagine when we built Platte West having that kind of an influx of somebody else's money. So we'll never give up, and we'll always take the time to apply, which we have. Hopefully it'll never go away and that'll change, but we haven't really received it. You know, it won't hurt us as much as those that actually receive large amounts. And I think, you know, I'm going off on my own here. We just don't get. The good news is we take care of our system. We have a great water supply. We have a great gas system. But your point's well taken. We're sizing everything up that could be of concern right now, and there's a lot. So thank you for that question.
Thanks, Mark.
Well, Mark, along those same lines, has there been any recent developments about the federal funding for the lead pipe replacement? I heard that sigh.
You know, I shouldn't go off on my own on everything. Do you agree?
It's just
Thank
fine.
you. Stephanie.
As far as the lead fund, Stephanie Hand, Director of Program Management, as far as the lead funding side, and Rick can certainly jump in, it's been a little bit quiet on the water side. On the gas side, it's a lot more encouraging. If you recall, through PHMSA, we have received approximately $35 million from the PHMSA grant. And 10 million of that was already, and I'm using air quotes, was obligated. And so we've been getting reimbursed in that. We've been getting paid on it. The other 25 million, when the whole funding freeze came through in January, we all got a little bit nervous, but it has gotten a lot more positive in the last month. There was a little bit of a change in some of the administrative things on how they were doing that. And it's aligned, the PHMSA grants, what the administration is seeing is very positive in the PHMSA grants because they see it as the gas pipeline getting more robust. And so what's happened is we've already signed an agreement. We still have some with PHMSA. We still have to follow up some things along with that, but we probably have about a 90% confidence level at this point that we didn't have in January. And so while there's a few things left to do, the gas side is looking very, very positive. Water side, you heard Rick, that seems a little bit more volatile, but gas side is seeming a lot more positive.
That's really helpful information. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
You bet.
We have, I hope Stephanie agrees, we have very good relationships with those people on the PHMSA side, and that's been very, very helpful. We don't have to, just sit here and hope. We kind of know what's happening, so that's been a good part of this. We had a big celebration in the lunchroom. I don't know how we could not get all that money. We had a lot of steam behind us on that one. So, anything else?
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to say hats off to the field personnel for coming through another tough winter. It's always hard. Never want to lose sight of the fact that, for all of us that do what we do here, we have people out in the community in the worst conditions and doing the work they have to do to keep the community safe and to make sure that our facilities are reliable and as undisrupted as they can possibly get. And we got a summer ahead coming up, and the hot weather's also, well, it'll be upon us. Don't blink. I was told you might miss spring. I hope that's not true. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Are there any members of the public in attendance today who would like to address the board? Hi, well, please come up to the lectern and state your name, please.
Hello, members and everyone in the room. Thank you. My name is Denise. I'm just a documenter. Just come out to attend public meetings and see what's going on behind the scenes and report back to the public, general public, and let them know how things are going and the progress that's being made and how exciting it is, which it actually was for me today to sit in this meeting, and hopefully I'll attend many more. So,
Well, glad to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Any other members of the public? Do any board members have any further comments at this time? Okay, this meeting is now concluded. We will reconvene the regular board meeting at 10 minutes to 3, 2:50, 14:50 for your military people. 1 minute. Please take your seats. I would now like to call the meeting to order. I'm Tim Cavanaugh, Chairman of the Metropolitan Utilities District Board of Directors, and I'd like to welcome you all to the regular monthly board meeting this afternoon, May 7th, 2025. This meeting is being live streamed from the boardroom at the M.U.D headquarters located at 7350 World Communications Drive, and a recording of this meeting will be uploaded to the M.U.D website after the meeting's conclusion. Roll call, please.
Kavanaugh?
Here.
Begley?
Here.
Cook? Here. Sidzik?
Here.
Friend? McGowan?
Here.
Howard? Here.
I would like to advise all those in attendance that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available on the wall in the back of the boardroom. And now for those who wish to participate, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of minutes for the committee meetings and regular board meeting for April 2nd, 2025. Do we have a motion?
I so move.
Second.
Jinx.
Paper, scissors, rock.
Discussion? Roll call.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Updates to the billing price book, agenda number 5. Director McGowan with the resolution.
I move to approve the updated prices for M.U.D services and materials with an effective date of June 1st, 2025, as presented and discussed in the committee meetings earlier.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Agenda item 6, capital expenditures. Director Sidzik.
I move to approve capital expenditures as presented in the committee meetings by Senior Vice President and Chief Operations Officer Kendall Minor, and as outlined in his letter to the committee dated May 1st, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Item number 7, acceptance of contracts and payment of final estimates. Director Sidzik.
I move to approve the acceptance of contracts and final payments as presented in the committee meetings by Director of Plant Engineering Trevor Tonagens, and as outlined in the letter to the committee dated April 23rd, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Item 8, bids on materials and contract. Director Sidzik.
another one. I move to approve the bids on materials and contracts as presented in the committee meetings by Vice President of Procurement and Enterprises Services, John Zellers, and as outlined in Sherry Lightfoot's letter to the committee dated April 24, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Item number 9, main extensions. Director Begley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for approval of the main extensions as presented in the committee meetings this afternoon by Vice President of Engineering Masania and as outlined in his letter to the committee dated April 30th, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Agenda item 10, wage and/or salary increases and ratifications. Director Begley.
Thank you. I move for approval of the wage and/or salary increases and ratifications as discussed in committee this afternoon and outlined in Bonnie Savine's memo dated April 28th, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Item 11, the fourth legislative report for 2025. District management is requesting we approve the updated positions as recommended by senior management and as presented in the committee meetings by government relations employee Rick Kubat and as outlined in his memo to the committee dated April 28th, 2025. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Chairman, second has been made. I just want to, for clarification, what legislative bill did Mr. Kubat recommend we go from neutral to support, or was it support to neutral? What bill is that?
That was Mark Mendenhall, Senior Vice President, General Counsel, was LB 36. I believe it's the first bill. That was the bill that was our Wellhead Protection Act that was then changed, and our language was moved out, and a bunch of other language was stuffed into it. So
it indicates in the memo, though, that it's already neutral, our stance.
That's the new proposed position.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that.
And so will this cover that?
Yes.
I think of the way it was worded, it sounded like it would.
Yes. Yes, it will.
Thank you.
Discussion? Roll call?
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Item 12, condemnation authority, Lot 1, Tepley's Timbers Addition. District management's requesting we approve the condemnation authority for a permanent easement in the southeast corner of Lot 1 of the Tepley's Timbers Association as presented in the committee meetings by District Attorney Justin Cooper and as outlined in his memo to the committee dated May 1st, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Item 13, proposed changes to pension and OPEB investment policy statements. Director Howard.
Thank you. Thank you. First time I forgot. I move to approve the revisions to the investment policy statements for the pension trust and other post-employment benefits trust as presented in the committee meetings by Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer Mark Myers and as outlined in his letter to the committee dated April 23rd, 2025.
Second.
Thank you.
Discussion? Roll call?
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Item 14, proposed revisions to rate Schedule F fixed rate gas service. Director McGowan.
Thank you. Thank you. I move we approve the revisions to the rate schedule F and as discussed and presented in the committee meetings earlier today.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Other matters of district business for discussion. Do any board members or management have any further comments they wish to share?
Mr. Chairman, one quick comment. I failed to make the statement when Mr. Doyle was presenting the State of the District. I wanted to say it was a great State of the District report, but there were no surprises in it. And I want to thank Mark and the rest of the staff for being so up to date and keeping the board up to date. There are no surprises. I just want to say thank you for that.
And a thank you to the staff and all the leadership when they are making these decisions to remember the customer owner who does have to go on a payment plan where $75 really does matter. I really appreciate that perspective. Thank you.
Any members of the public present who would like to address the board? If not, the chair would address any motion to go into closed session.
I move to enter into closed session to discuss matters of litigation and personnel.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Cook?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
get a motion to return to open session?
I move we return to open session.
Second.
Let me repeat that. I didn't have my mic on. Can we have a motion to return to open session?
I move that we go into open session.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes?
Howard?
Yes.
Are there any directors or members of the public who have any further comments they wish to share? May we get a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
And I will second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes?
Howard?
Yes.
We are adjourned.